Good morning, my friend.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Welcome.
Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to IamCasa. Today I'm here with Mr. Simon Wolf himself, celebrating 190 years of the company, right?
That's right.
We're in London after a beautiful party last night. You hosted at the Royal Opera House. Are you happy?
I'm ecstatic. Happy is not a
Amazing.
big enough word. I'm ecstatic. It was a fabulous night.
Very happy to hear. I mean, that's a lot of things happened. First shop here,
Yes.
right? First mono-brand shop ever in the history of the brand,
Ever on
right?
the planet, yes.
Amazing. But before we delve a bit deeper in everything you're doing now, let me have an overview, even if I already know who you are and everything,
Yeah.
for our friends behind
Yeah.
the screen. Who's Simon Wolf?
Who is Simon Wolf? Wow.
It's not an easy question, I know.
Yeah, big question. Where do you start with that? You know, I was born into this amazing legacy, this family of well, me being the fifth generation of box makers, and didn't know that was what I was going to do. Didn't know that was going to be my future. And one day, my father turned to me and said, "I think you should maybe try your hand at selling with Tony Cook, the sales rep in the southeast of England." And that's really where my journey began. I suppose, who am I? You know, my work defines me to a certain degree, but my life outside of work is obviously, and I would say hopefully for most people, equally as important. If you love your work like I do, then loving life outside of it is important.
Yeah, very much.
For me, that's living in the countryside, respecting nature, being amongst nature, and just feeling it. The energy when you're outside in the wild is there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Here it's beautiful nature outside of London,
Yes.
so
Yeah, it is.
very much. And you're also a watch collector, remember?
I am. I'm not the type of collector that knows the movement number inside the watch, or how the escapement really joins to another bit of the watch. I mean, I'm not that guy, but I'm a man who has I believe I have a great eye for beauty and design. I'm constantly looking at the world around me. I get a little exhausted at times because I see color and I see shape, and I take inspiration. So the watch, whether it's the shape of the case or the way the bracelet moves, or the hands or the dial, is actually more important to me than what's inside. Although what's inside, it's a microcosm of mechanical mystery to me.
Yeah.
And there aren't very many things you can take and treat as badly as we treat our watches, and they keep going.
That's
This is
very
the amazing thing. They just keep going.
That's very true. That's
You can throw it against the wall right now, and I can
and
pick
it
this up
still
and it will work.
works. Yeah, and
How many
after
things you
parties, I think, after all your parties, they must work, and they do. So,
Some of them are very scratched up, and I need to get them polished.
but not yours, maybe Michael's one.
Yeah.
Much more. Do you find any? Because when I look at the boxes, we met through watches in the end, and that's why I made the question in the first place. Is it something like? Do you care about watches because of the boxes, or did you already care about them before that?
That's a really super question, because actually I wasn't always a watch lover.
Okay.
I wasn't, and we started making watch winders 25 years ago.
Wow.
When I saw a
That's a lot of
gap in the
time.
market, and I felt like there was something that the market was missing, a proper technical bit of kit, an instrument that counted turns per day, had a cuff that was changeable in size. So I love the boxes, and I love boxes because that's my business, but
Of course.
it came before the love of watches,
Okay.
but now I've been bitten. I think if you get bitten by the bug, it'll
Yeah,
never leave
no, it's a rabbit hole.
you. Yeah.
I know, it's very hard to keep up with everything, and it's fun because also I see your team and everyone has a watch, because when you have watch boxes, you must have a watch somehow.
If you have a watch winder, you need a watch winder. If you need a
course.
watch box, you need a
course.
watch. You need a watch box. Yeah.
So how was the industry before you took over the company? Because you told me you started 25 years ago with winders, which is a long time ago. I was not passionate. Well, I was maybe not even born. So It's the time.
Oh, you make me jealous.
Nah,
Lucky thing.
come
you.
on, come on. But so how was the industry? Because nowadays it's a big company.
Yes.
And whenever I speak about Wolf to people, they're like, we didn't know it was that big.
Oh, yeah.
And that's interesting. So how's the market? How is it evolving? I want to know more because it's
Sure.
kind of far from us, even though we're like very close.
Well, the opportunity that I saw all those years ago was in a world that was providing. There were other people providing watch winders, but I didn't think that they had thought through how the watch winder should really interact with the watch. And of course, if you speak to any watchmaker, they'll tell you that we move through life, wrist movement, walking. However, we apply action to our wrist where the watch resides, the rotor's going to swing inside, and the mainspring's going to have pressure applied. So the idea that you wouldn't count or know exactly what cycle you were in a rotation, for me was very odd. And no one had thought of counting the turns or knowing precisely how many turns had elapsed, or if there was a start delay available. So we started engineering all these features into the watch winders at a fairly early stage. So I think I saw a market, and I felt like there was something missing from it. And as we delved into it, we saw that there were so many elements that we could add to the product and just make it better. And that's one of the many reasons, and there are many others, that helped accelerate us to where we are today, the size of the company and all the customers we have globally.
And it's impressive, I have to say. I learned a bit about all the rotors and how it works. And the winder is complicated on one side, but it's literally kind of tailored to your watch. You can tailor it to your watch,
exactly.
which is very, very interesting. But so, would you say it's like the most important item in the whole catalog, or the one you're most proud of somehow?
I think, a huge part of our business, 50% of our business, is jewelry care, and that means a jewelry box for home use, or a travel case, or a portfolio that you travel with, or a jewelry roll, and that's 50% of the company's revenue. So it's huge and very important to us. And in terms of units, we actually sell more. But watch winders are interesting because we live in this world of watch aficionados and watch geeks. And so how they take care of their watch is important. And when we came along, they could see that, this company's really paid attention to how the watch should be looked after. You don't take your Porsche or Aston Martin and park it on the street. You put it in a hopefully a heated garage with no dust on the floor. I mean, if you can, you would do that, of course. And that's how we always looked at looking after watches. Even if it's a simple watch that isn't a watch winder and it needs to go in a watch box, it needs to be somewhere there where it's safe. I mean, of course it's safe, but it's put in a place within the box that's looking after it. And a watch winder is a more complicated thing, but it does something very simple, like you said. It just needs to turn the watch. And also, what you mentioned was how many turns a watch requires. So all the brands have a number of turns that the watch requires. So we've got that database, and we put it into our website. So if you have a Rolex Milgauss, it's 650 turns per day bidirectional. So you can now program your watch winder to do 650 turns bidirectional, and away you go. You don't have to worry about your watch being overwound or underwound. It will be wound perfectly in a Wolf.
That's amazing. And I don't think everyone knows it, which was the most important. I didn't know it when I got the box first, so then Alberto told me, of course.
Yeah.
But what's for you the most important thing in making a good box and or winder nowadays?
It's what's been part of the company's DNA for all time, I would say. It's actually not what you see. The exterior is incredibly important, and we spend as much time on the exterior of the piece than the interior. But what is actually happening inside and how it happens, whether it's the gears that we have that connect directly to the drums, so there's very little slip. Well, there's no slippage at all because it's a direct drive. So you have a piece of kit, so to speak, that is its only mission is to look after the watch, and that can only happen on the interior. So people, when you have great product, often you can put two products on the table from two different companies, and for some reason, everybody always gravitates to this one. And you can't really see with a cursory glance why, but there's something that, it could be the feel of it, the weight of it, the way the hinge works, whatever it might be, that makes it better. And so we do those things internally. Like all of our hinges have cushion clothes, and they have a little silicone insert that goes inside the hinges, so that when you close the lid, it won't slam, it'll go down.
Saw it yesterday.
I know it sounds so simple, but nobody else does it because actually it's very difficult to execute. So it's those things that are built in that perhaps you don't see externally that are the most important. So yeah, it's that constant attention to detail over the years that put us in the position we are today, which I would humbly, maybe not so humbly, say we're the market leader, of course.
Amazing. Wow, congrats on that. And what is, on the other hand, the most complicated thing about your market? Because I know the watchmaking market pretty well, but sometimes I feel people are still, there's not still a huge culture about boxes and winders. So how can we improve it somehow? And do you think it's the most complicated side of it?
Yeah, so the main challenge we have is time,
Well,
which is fun because we take care of time, we take care of people's timepieces. Getting the focus on the brand and what the brand does, which is take care of your automatic watch, has been and is probably always going to be a challenge because people focus on the watch as they should to a certain degree. So having the bandwidth from our customers, and we find, when I say customers, I'm talking about our retail partners. They have a lot of different balls to balance and plates to spin. So having them focus on us and to see that we are an accessory to a degree, but we're an essential accessory when it comes to watches. Even if you have one watch, you don't move enough during the day. Very few people move enough to keep the watch wound to the degree it should be. It's got to go on a Wolf at night. And so having that sort of light bulb moment in all of our retailers' heads, that would be lovely. The consumer does it on their own. The consumer comes to us and they self-educate on our website. We've got a great FAQ section. So they really find out about Wolf by reading themselves, and then they make a purchase because they go, that 4-piece, 6-piece winder will take care of me because I've got 3 watches and I'm going to buy another one, and that so I'll buy the 4-piece. So we're always challenged to try to get the message out there and tell people that what we do is exceptional and it's focused only on taking care of the watch and the health of the watch. So yeah, I would say time to do that. There's never enough hours in a day.
Yeah, I can really imagine, and time is, in the end, is what makes us friends and what creates this problem on the same hand. So it's pretty complicated. It's interesting because you also put a lot of care in, I remember like the travel box for 3 watches, which has the hidden part inside to store other things as well. Where does inspiration come from? Because I mean, you're 5th generation, so maybe also from the past, but I don't think it's enough somehow.
So as I said earlier, I'm a very visual person, so I'm constantly looking around, whether it's color, whether it's design, whether it's shape, and I'm not a negative person, I'm incredibly positive, but I always believe there's a better way of doing just about everything. So it's a little bit exhausting because we're sitting at with a table and chair around us, and I'm looking at the knocks on the chair arm here, and that's happening because this is at the wrong height, perhaps.
Yeah.
So that re-examining of a product that we already have made, an item that we've developed over years, I'm never satisfied.
Is there anything you think it's perfect?
Nature is perfect.
Okay, fair.
Nature is perfect.
It's something you created?
It's semblances of perfection. I think the Rocket, which is the smallest travel winder, fits in the palm of your hand. That's pretty perfect. No one else has ever even dreamt of the idea, and no one's ever come close to making it. And we did. It took us a couple of years. I think, the sort of the elegance of our collections is such that I'm very proud of the way British racing looks.
Yeah.
The pavilion lid, the gold tooling. I mean, they just look, to me, it's so beautiful. And they're huge collections for us now.
I've seen it yesterday in a shop. Like everyone was browsing around, everyone was checking on everything, and then they stopped on the green.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. No, it's a showstopper, as they say in America. I think they say that in America. I'm not sure.
Very much.
Showstopper.
So now did you explain me a bit of yourself? I think you're a car guy as well, 100%.
Again, see, I'm not the guy that will say, oh, that's the TRX49. It was built from 1979 to 1982. I'm not that guy, but I'll look at an Austin Healey or an Aston Martin DB5 or an E-Type Jag, and that era of British cars.
You're very British. Huh?
Or go back to the 50s in America.
Okay.
Those cars today, as my father has said for years, they just look like upside-down bathtubs. There's no differentiation between them. They just look so generic, and
that's true.
There's reasons for that, of course, but I love cars. I love the smell of them. I mean, I drive electric cars, so I'm a huge proponent of saving energy, not using fossil fuels. But if I had an Austin Healey 3000 in my garage and I drove it at the weekends, I think I could justify doing that. But I mean, I've had a few nice cars in my life, so I think I'm never done with it. And we were opening the store yesterday, and there was about 10 or 12 Minis that came by, mid 70s, late 70s era, and they all came by. And I had one of those, and it looks so small now. But it's such an iconic, beautiful little car.
Yeah, it is. You're very British, huh? By the way.
Yes, I am. I mean, I lived in America for 32 years. I came back in 2020 and thought I was going to return, but through the pandemic realized I could run the company from the UK. Always planned to come back, but my heart's always been here. I always said I'll never be buried in America. I'm coming home at some point.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but thanks to COVID, it brought me home a lot sooner than I expected. I love the countryside here. It's England
amazing.
in the summer. I don't think you can beat it, but then I'm biased, of course.
How was COVID for you? Did it boost the business, or?
In the first year, 2020, we didn't lose any revenue at all year over year, so we were flat. Retail, brick and mortar business, obviously stopped, but our online business and our online partners, lots of folks like Watches of Switzerland, for instance, Harrods, their businesses, exploded online. Then when it all came back in 2021, we had an incredible year, and 2022 was very, very good. So COVID was kind to us. We shut all the offices, but we kept the warehouses open to fulfill orders. I gave everybody 2 screens and a decent computer to go home with if they didn't have one already. And we didn't really stop. We just said we're going to keep going. Where a lot of people, especially in this country, they sort of went, oh, we'll go home and we'll wait till this thing's over. And that's not how you keep going. So we kept running as hard as we could. And I think that helped because it put us ahead of so many other, and I don't talk about people in the same business as me. I'm just talking about being creative and creating business and being able to find an opportunity. We were doing that when everybody else was sitting at home eating donuts, watching Judge Judy or something. I don't know.
So this is really what I see about the company. You all try to stay and further every time, like to keep going. And
good example where we're sitting here. The camera can't obviously see, but the other end of this small restaurant, I've got the whole marketing team. They were all up until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. They're all here today, working away, posting on Instagram the huge, great event from last night. Everybody else from the office that was up, they all left this morning at a fairly decent hour, and they're in the office. I mean, most people wouldn't be able to get out of bed after what we did yesterday, but we're here, and I'm humbled by just the energy that they bring to it.
Where do you find the energy?
I don't know. I tell you one thing. It's a lot about being. Maybe I say this, and Michael, who he always says, you shouldn't really say it like that. I'm a paranoid, insecure person and proud of it. Okay. So the paranoia drives me because I think there's always someone nipping at my heels, and I'm insecure, so I always want to make everything better than it was. So I'm driving all the time, and maybe that energy rubs off on everybody else. I'm a little manic, and I walk into the office, and maybe I give the impression I'm a little bit in my own little world as I get into my office, but I'm ready for anybody to come and chat to me. It's just I'm so focused on squeezing everything I can out of that day. why not?
It's amazing. I love the honesty. I need this.
That's how I am. I can't
Really,
help it.
really.
It comes from my father. You know, he was a pilot and flew planes, and the attention to detail you must have when you fly your own plane is up paramount. It's a complex thing to do. He flew a very complex plane, a Beechcraft Staggerwing. So I watched him do those things, and I think it rubbed off on me.
Okay, super. Thank you so much. So we've seen a lot of your history. We've seen 190 years.
Yes.
What's one goal for the future?
You know,
I would have asked you what's next, but that's too easy.
making I don't need a watch winder, I need a wolf. Making what we do synonymous with our name would be lovely, and it's there. There's inklings of it, you know. Oh no, you don't need a watch winder, you need a wolf. That familiarity with the brand, you know. If I could get there, we don't have massive advertising budgets. We don't. Although we've spent a lot of money in the last few days on this event here.
I can imagine.
We just don't. And so we're competing against, you know, huge brands with hundreds of millions of dollars that they can throw at advertising. We don't have that. So we're having to do things more creatively, but we're very creative with what we have to spend and to develop. So we're, I think, for me personally, that's what you asked me. I'm trying to build the brand into a position where we're just the de facto. That would be really nice. We're there in many people's eyes, I think. But because of my paranoia, I'd like more, please.
I really get that. Trust me, I really get that. Simon, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure.
Sitting and chatting with me. Been a pleasure.
Great, and thank you for having me here in London.
Yeah.
Hope to be back soon for, I don't know, 200 years?
Do you want me to tell you the next secret?
Of course, please.
So, with the help of a great writer called Rachel Taylor, I've written a book about 5 generations, and we'll be launching that. I don't want to tell marketing, I don't tell them anything. We discuss together, but we'll be doing some launch very soon.
Okay.
The book's printing right now, so when we can breathe, we'll go, okay. And we'll probably do it in Neal Street, in 72 Neal Street in Covent Garden, in the store there. Perfect. So you'll have to come back.
I will, with pleasure. Yeah. Have you put the book in a wolf box?
It is in a box. Of
Perfect.
Course.
You have more ideas than I have. You're ahead of me. That's amazing. Good luck with the book. Can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
And well, so I'll see you in London in a month.
Yep.
Amazing.
Thereabouts.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching us. Let us know what your favorite story from Mr. Wolf is your favorite, and of course let us know if you already knew everything from their history and the winder functioning. We'll have more videos coming soon with the functioning itself of the winders, of course. See you in London, or see you in Milan, or see you in an event.